Return from Witch Mountain is a pretty decent film. This is a Disney film from 1978. It's directed by John Hoff and it's written by Malcolm Mormanson. And it stars Kim Richards and Ike Eisenmann as Tia and Tony. We also have Bette Davis and Christopher Lee. And Denver Pyle does appear in it as their uncle, but not as much as the previous film. And I did like the previous film, so I was curious to see what this one was about. And it's pretty decent. I'm not going to spoil anything, at least nothing in any great detail, but the children are visiting LA and their uncle drops them off. And Tony ends up getting kidnapped after somebody witnesses him using his powers. And while he is kidnapped, while he's captured and being forced to do things and interacting with some not very nice people, Tia has to try and track him down, and she does this with the help of a gang of kids who I thought were pretty awesome. They were really interesting characters, but what's particularly interesting about this is that obviously Tia and Tony are separated, whereas in the film, the first film, they had each other to rely on. This one, it's quite different because they're apart for a lot of the film, and I thought that worked really well. It's not what I was expecting, but it definitely worked well. And it's a relatively interesting film. I don't want to say too much more about the specifics of the narrative, but I think the narrative flows very well. The pacing is very good. The characters are all very well written. The performances are really good. And the set designs are pretty great as well, particularly the more science-y ones. I thought they looked rather fabulous. We also have some great outdoor scenes. And according to IMDb, this is filmed pretty much in LA, a little bit of Southern California. I don't know where else that might include because that's all the information I have. But certainly, visually, we had a lot of great locations. The set designs were great. No complaints from me at all. I probably wouldn't watch it a second time. But that being said, I enjoyed it. I thought Return from Witch Mountain was a pretty worthy sequel. And it's nice to follow Tia and Tony's journeys a little bit longer because they were certainly very likable, very interesting characters from the first film. And the characters who are introduced in this are all really good as well. So definitely a film that I'd say I enjoyed and I would definitely recommend it, but I would recommend watching the first film first. It's not necessarily the fact that you need to be able to understand what happens in this film. But as I said, I enjoyed watching the continuation of their story, so I definitely think there's more value in watching the first film and then watching this one. But if, for example, you're a Christopher Lloyd fan or a Bette Davis fan and you want to watch the film for their characters in this, you'll be able to follow what's going on, no problems. So all things considered, Return from Witch Mountain is a pretty good film and one that I'm definitely happy to recommend.